And we are recording. Perfect. I do not know why this red line is here. There we go. Perfect. Okay, so introduction. My name is Kristy-Lu Desrosiers, and I am one of the Job Search Strategies Facilitator for SOPA Ontario, which is Settlement Online Pre-Arrival. Some of you here may be already clients of us. If not, please check out our website here, arriveprepared.ca. We are a pre-arrival program, so that what that means is if you are a newcomer waiting to come to Canada, you can check out our program. We have job search strategies courses, soft skills courses, we have employment counseling, etc. So you can just check out our website to see what the eligibility requirements are and to find out some more information. We also do have some excellent blogs that have some really great employment information and just settlement information in general. Please let me know if you have any questions as we go along. Almira will be monitoring the chat box, so either she'll be answering or she can kind of interrupt me and speak any questions if they seem kind of urgent. We do have a couple more people coming, so we're just gonna wait another minute. Okay, perfect. So if anyone has just joined, again, we have the program I'm a part of. I'm SOPA Ontario, part of the Settlement Online Pre-Arrival program. We're in several provinces across Canada. We have different courses and employment counseling, and you will be able to check out our website, arriveprepared.ca, for more information. There will be a question and answer period at the end, so I would ask you to hold on to your questions because some of them may be answered during the presentation. Otherwise, Almira, who is joining us today, and she will be monitoring the chat box. So let's get started. What is the labor market? The labor market is the supply of workers or labor and the demand for those workers. Labor market information, or LMI, is information on the current Canadian workforce and economy. And you can see that's taken right from the SOPA Job Search Strategies course. It includes the following information: predictions about economic growth, what occupations are in demand, and what occupations are in decline, what skills are needed now and in the future, employment and unemployment rates in various occupations, required education or training in various occupations, job opportunities or where employers are located, wage and salary ranges. So information on the Canadian labor market will help you to learn what skills are in demand and in which sectors they may be most needed. This is very important as it can really determine if you should stay in your field or maybe you should change fields or occupations, upgrade, or if you may need to upgrade or retrain, and it really can influence where you decide to live in Canada. Okay. So how to research your field. So when you start looking for work in Canada, you need to research your occupation and your job title. As we just said, that will really guide your focus and where you're gonna go and how you're gonna do it. So you will want to answer questions like, how is working your occupation different in Canada? What are the Canadian job titles that fit with your skills and experience? What training or experience do you need to work in Canada? Are there rules, regulations, or laws governing your occupation in Canada? What language levels are needed? And is there demand for workers in your field in Canada? I'm sorry, I should have said this at the beginning. So we're going to have a very general labor market information workshop. How do you research it? How will that influence your own career search? And then we will have a couple pages discussing COVID-19, as of course that is one of the biggest influences in careers in general going on right now. So that will be at the end, and then you will all have the chance to ask some questions if you still have some. Okay, so these are kind of questions you want to answer. Can everyone hear me? Everyone should be able to hear me. If you are, just let Elmira know and we'll see what's going on. Perfect. Okay. So one of the great ways to start your research in the labor market is the NOC system. This is the National Occupational Classification System. So it's a great place to start looking because it's a very general, you can find all kinds of information about all Canadian occupations. It's includes over 40,000 occupations in different categories. It's available on the NOC website, which also has links to other information. The NOC describes Canadian occupations. Each description includes the following: the number and title, the NOC number and title, which can help you find more information later on. It gives an overview of the occupation, examples of titles, examples of main duties, employment requirements, additional information, and anything that might be classified elsewhere. If there's any kind of related occupations or occupations that share some of those requirements and skills, you may see that there as well. So how do you use the NOC system? So you want to go to the NOC website from the home page. So there's a link. If you go down to this link, you will find that page, or you can also try looking it up using the National Occupation, using the NOC Canada. You should be able to find it as well. So from the home page, pick the most recent version. Next, enter a job title in the quick search box. Click on an occupational title from the list of occupational categories. The site will then bring you to a report page. This will give you that NOC number as well as a general overview of this career in Canada. So with that kind of start, you'll want to start looking for more places and more information. And this is in a lot of different places. You can find it from employers, sector councils, professional associations. You can look on the internet by searching for your occupational title and on Canadian government websites. So some places to get started, you can look at Labor Market Ottawa. This is just a good overview of what kind of some of the information is and what it means. You can look employment service. Again, this one is a really great overview of how to use that information. LMIC, CMTs.ca, CIC.ca, ECO.ca, Research Labor Market Information. And then if you do find out your field has a professional association, whether it is a regulatory one or a voluntary one, they often have a lot of wealth of information too. So research your field and see what's out there. So like I just mentioned, regulated versus unregulated. So some occupations are regulated, which means there is a regulated body or apprenticeship office in which the province or territory that you reside. So it's usually provincially. So if you're in accounting, there's going to be an Ontario regulatory body, and there's going to be a British Columbia one, etc. So the regulated ones are very important, as you typically you can't officially work in that field, or at least in certain job titles in that field, without your certification from that body. So for example, for accounting, it'll be CPA, or for engineering, they have one as well. So you kind of want to go look through that. There's all kinds of different processes and different eligibility requirements to gain your certification. So you're going to want to look into that. And then non-regulated occupations. Sorry about the dogs barking. And the non-regulated occupations, you will not have to go through that licensing process. So it will be a lot easier for you to start working in that field. Although please do keep in mind that there's often voluntary organizations that can be of great help to you either way. So like I said, you will first need to obtain your certification before starting to work in that field. This will look different for each career, and this is really where research is key. Start with looking at the association or college that regulates the profession, see what the requirements are. Most of them will have a page for newcomers and how to transition into that field there. If you have any questions, they should also have some contact information for people where you can kind of start asking them about that. Once you have some idea of what you need to do and how long it will take, because some processes will be quicker than others, you can start your planning. Depending on how long this process can take, you may want to look at some alternative careers, which will be further along in the process, in the presentation, which can kind of just tide you over until you can finish your certification. So how to use your research. So hard skills are job-related or technical skills. We learn hard skills in college or university. For example, mechanical engineers usually learn their technical skills at university. These university degrees show that they have the hard skills to work in their profession. Engineers also need to show that they can use these skills in the workplace before they become fully qualified to practice in their profession. Think about the skills that you have learned at college or university. We also learn hard skills on the job. We learn through training sessions or even just by plain doing it. The more you do something, the more you know about it. So to identify hard skills, think about your previous jobs. What did you do in those jobs? If you have a lot of experience in a certain job, you will certainly have many skills that you learned over the years. You will want to gather a list of these hard skills because you will be using them on resumes, cover letters, interviews, etc. to showcase your experience. And honestly, it will be very useful in helping you guide your own career here in Canada. For example, do you have skills that might experience that isn't really as common here in Canada, or is it experience that very much is common and is recognized a lot by employers? So that kind of thing. And now there is soft skills. Soft skills, which is a little bit trickier than hard skills, I find, as they are related to how you organize yourself and how you work and communicate with others. These are not skills that you usually learn in school, but they are personal strengths, qualities, or attitudes that you learn over time. In other words, these are skills that can't really be taught fully. So soft skills might include writing emails, reports, business letters, and other documents. So not just your writing ability, but how you write. Is it, are you very terse and blunt in your emails, or are you really reaching out to people? So they could include reading and understanding information, like words, graphs, charts, and diagrams. So how you interpret that kind of information. And it also can include speaking, so reporting to a group, making a speech, giving a presentation like this one, answering questions or asking questions, which we will be experiencing at the end of this presentation. So to really keep in mind, Canada very much likes and wants these soft skills, as they are not as trainable as hard skills, and they give employees a really great foundation for employers to build on. So this is definitely very much a part of Canadian work culture, and it is an expectation here. So you will want to gather a list of any soft skills. Like for the hard skills, you will be using them on resumes, cover letters, interviews, etc. So transferable skills, these are very important skills, and that will be especially useful while you transition here in Canada. So it's possible to develop a hard or soft skill in one job and then use it again in a completely different field. So when you do this, the skill is called a transferable skill. For example, maybe you develop some customer service skills in a new job as a customer representative in a bank. For example, if you develop customer service skills by working in a coffee shop, you could use these same customer service skills in a new job, such as one as a customer representative in a bank. In other words, you can transfer or carry over this skill from one workplace to another. Think of transferable skills as the hard or soft skills you possess that can apply to job opportunities in any number of fields. You can then word these skills in the most relevant way to the job that you may be applying for. For example, say you worked in a restaurant and now want to do customer service. You can talk about how you worked with customers, solved problems. Maybe some customers had an issue with their food, so you were able to smooth that over and make sure they were happy in the end. These are all great experience that a lot of employers would be very interested in having. So you're going to want to look at your current skills with the information you have learned from your research. See what could be transferable to other fields. Look at job search websites, and you can always search these key skills and see what comes up. You may find many options. You can also kind of use some keywords from your own career. For example, if you're in banking, you can look up various finance and customer service positions, and you can see if there's any that might be relevant to you. So as part of this, you want to be to identify accomplishments. Employers want you to have the skills to do the job. They also want to know how you have used or applied your skills. They will be very interested in your contributions to past employers. As a job seeker in Canada, you will need to be comfortable talking about these accomplishments to potential employers. So as part of that, you need to practice self-promotion. I know it's a little awkward to always do that, but you really do need to. You need to practice talking about your accomplishments, and don't be afraid to really sell yourself. That is what's expected, and it can really help you quite a bit. You want to show the employer that you have confidence in your ability to do the job. You want to talk about accomplishments that are important to the employer. So you want to really look back and see what accomplishments you have that will be most interesting to that employer. And remember, think about your transferable skills and see, even if it's something completely different, see how you can frame that in a way that's relevant to that employer. Of course, do not exaggerate. If you're part of a team that designs something, make sure to give credit to the team instead of just saying I. Remember, most Canadian employers want and value teamwork. Of course, saying that, don't under-exaggerate, because if you were in charge of something, you can say so. Whenever possible, you want to use numbers to explain. You can use percentages, monetary values, etc. Although if you use monetary values, try to kind of convert that to Canadian dollars. Numbers are just a really great way for employers to quickly understand what you're doing and what you've done before. Translate your accomplishments. Many Canadian employers may never get to New Delhi, India, or Beijing, China. They may not know about the system of government, the geography, or the economics of your country. They may not know the largest employers. For example, if you worked at a well-respected university in Manila, the third largest software company in India, or one of the top 10 engineering firms in China, you need to carefully describe the context of these accomplishments to future employers. So do make sure to do it briefly and not to take up too much time on that context. So as part of the labor market research, I have put in volunteering. So it can be a really great thing to do while job searching. While you're not being paid for it, you can get a lot of other benefits. So if you can find a nonprofit that does similar work, like maybe Habitat for Humanity or trade or association, or maybe you just have a passion for something you want to get involved in, or maybe you just want, you have administrative skills that you want to develop a little bit more in the Canadian context. Anything that you might be interested in, you can use volunteering to gain that kind of Canadian experience. You can find out more about what the field is like in that city that you're in, and you can expand your network. So the more people you meet who are working in this field or are working adjacent to the kind of positions you're interested in, the more information you will gain from them. You will also get some Canadian references, which employers can value a lot. So all of those things can very much help in your job search. I know a lot of people are just like, why should I volunteer? I'm not getting paid. But in addition to what I just said, it really doesn't have to be full-time. Most volunteering positions have a part-time time commitment that can really fit in any schedule. So even if it's just a couple hours a week or maybe one day a month, and it can still very much help you quite a bit. So I have here some links to get you started. So there's Charity Village volunteer listings. So Charity Village is a international website for nonprofits, and they have a very extensive volunteer search base, like any other kind of job searching website that you can go through and tailor to your own interests and needs. We also have settlement.org. They are an Ontario-focused website, but they have a lot of great information, great links, and great explanations. They have a little volunteer section as well. Everyone doing well so far? I think we've had a few people who've joined. I just want to let you know we will be having a question and answer period at the end of this presentation. So if you maybe missed anything from this workshop, or if there's any questions you still have, you will get some answers to that. As well, this is being recorded, so it will be posted most likely on our YouTube channel or elsewhere on social media. So you can always watch the beginning if you did miss that. So I did mention alternative careers earlier. What is that? Alternative career is when you choose a different or related field to your career. This is good to have in case the certification process will take a long time. You can do an alternative career instead of doing your certification if you wish, or you can do a career while you're working on that certification process. There are so many options depending on the field you've worked in and the field you may want to work in. This is where those transferable skills come in handy. Once again, you never quite know where it will take you. Maybe you want to change your career. Maybe you want to do something different, or you're still trying to stay in the field you want to be in. So here are some great resources. Again, settlement.org is an excellent place to start. So they have some information, alternative jobs, professions and trades, what are alternative jobs. There's also here, Canada Immigration Refugee Citizenship Services has a little website about preparing for life in Canada and preparing for work, looking for jobs. So there's some information there as well. And as well, if you are part of our program, SOPA, or you wish to be part of our program, you will be able to discuss this a little bit more in detail and tailor to your own goals with either our job search strategies facilitators or employment counselors. So make sure to kind of look into our program and see if we can help you. So here we go, one of the hottest topics, COVID-19. So I got this great infographic from Stats Canada, and it's about the labor market. The most recent information I could find was from June. So you can see between February and April here, 5.5 million Canadian workers were affected by the COVID-19 economic shutdown, by either job loss or reduced hours. However, by June, the number of affected workers was down 43% to 3.1 million. So compared with May and June, almost 1 million more people were employed. 823,000 fewer people were absent from work for COVID-related reasons. 167,000 fewer people were unemployed, and 449,000 fewer people wanted a job but didn't look for one, so that was down 32%. So all that is showing you is that COVID-19 is definitely still affecting the labor market here in Canada and has affected it, but we're on our way back up. So even though it may be a little bit daunting, do know that there's certainly still a lot of work that you can do here in Canada. Of course, certain jobs or fields are going to be affected more than others. So here you can do employment was closest to pre-COVID-19 levels in industries with the fewest jobs requiring close physical proximity between people. So you can kind of see here that the more closer contact you have with people, the more effects there are going to be. But there are certainly still a lot of different fields you can look at. So low physical proximity, maybe it's professional, scientific and technical services, finance, insurance, real estate, rental and leasing, and public and administrative were the best affected. And then manufacturing, agriculture, transportation and warehousing, information, culture and recreation, and construction were kind of moderately affected. And then retail, education, healthcare and social assistance, and accommodation and food services were the most affected. Again, that is what's going to happen. Some fields are going to be hit harder than others. And that's what you want to know, because maybe you want to adjust your career search for now while this is going on. So, like I said, there are industries that are doing well during the pandemic. Look for these and see how they may fit into your career plan. Do you want to kind of adjust for that? Do you want to kind of switch, maybe do a similar position, but in one of those fields? If you're in administration, or maybe if you're in engineering, you can always go into project management, that kind of thing. So while healthcare is definitely one of the most affected, healthcare is very much needed right now. So that is a field that is actually doing quite well. Some of the other industries, banking and finance, IT, manufacturing, e-commerce, etc., those are really booming right now. They're very much still needed. There are ways to do some of these from home. So you can really research that and see how that might be helpful. So I have some other links down here. CPA Canada has some news about post-COVID-19, what the future sectors might look like there. CTV News has an article on these jobs may be the most in demand in a post-pandemic Canada. And Randstad, which is an employment agency, has a little career resources working in Canada, industries trending during COVID-19. So I'm just gonna pause here for a little bit in case anyone wants to take a picture of these links. Remember again, this will be posted. So for anyone who may have missed part of this workshop, this will be posted later and you will be able to catch up then. Okay, I'll just stay here for another 10 seconds. If you want to keep these links, please just take a picture of them. Okay. So now I think what everyone's been waiting for, it is time for the question and answer period. So if you have any questions, please just type them out in the text box. And Elmira, who is one of my coworkers, is here today and she'll be reading that out, okay? Looks like we've got a couple already. That's perfect. Okay, so we don't have too many questions yet. The links, the presentation will be posted later on. We will see if we can post some of the links later. We'll have to kind of see how that goes, but if possible, we'll send that out. Otherwise, the presentation will be posted in publicly, and you can look at the links that way yourself. Anything else?
Hello, everyone. So I have a question from Vanessa Fernandez.
Perfect.
She's asking, is now the right time to come to Canada amidst this pandemic, or can we opt for a post-winter?
So can you repeat the last part of that?
Sure, I can repeat the whole question again. Is now the right time to come to Canada amidst this pandemic, or can we opt for a post-winter?
So that's a really great question. And honestly, I can't fully answer that because it's going to be different for everyone. And that's what I really like about this workshop, because you want to do your research. Is your field doing well during the pandemic? If it is, maybe you are going to want to come a little bit quicker. If it's not, maybe you want to come a little bit later. If you're able to postpone and you feel like that would be a better option for you, maybe you should do that. So it's really going to depend so much on your family, on what the career is like going in Canada, how the place that you want to arrive in is doing. So that's really where that research is going to come in handy. What careers are, I have another question here. What careers are doing well? So like I said, certain fields are doing well. You have healthcare, you have banking and finance, you have IT, since everyone is doing so many things online right now. You've got manufacturing, since so many things are in need. So those general fields are doing well. If you're looking for your specific position, like as our engineers doing well, that's going to be very specific on the field. If you're maybe an engineer in manufacturing, yes, maybe that position is doing well. Software engineer, etc. So you want to research those fields, and this is where networking is going to come in a lot of handy. And we will be having some more information talking about networking later on in other presentation. And as well, please check out our Arrive Prepared website. We do have many blog entries, and there are some on networking, such as informational interviewing, etc. Because the more people you know in that field, in the country or the city you want to go to, the more they can tell you, yes, we're doing well, this is where you can look at, or maybe no, it's not doing so well. So that's, again, I don't know about all the jobs and what they're all like in Canada. I wish I did. That would make my job a lot easier, but it's just too much information to really get that kind of knowledge in. So you want to use what you learned here to do that kind of research, to start that kind of networking, and that's what's going to answer is what jobs are doing well the best.
I have another question from one of our participants. Peggy is asking, what are other methods to do market research besides job bank?
So I chose, there's a few links that I showed earlier in the presentation. Let's see, I can probably go back to them. So here are some more resources. Again, the first two are a little bit more resources helping you to understand all the different information. Here's a few other pages you can look through. And then networking, like I just said, networking is one of the best ways to find out that kind of information. So some ways you can do networking is you can use LinkedIn. There's LinkedIn groups that you can join. Look for ones that are focused in the area that you want to go to. There's also a lot more online events happening because of COVID. So there's actually a really excellent opportunity here where you can, there's online conferences. There's maybe just, instead of meeting like little dinners in person, it's going to be moving online. So some great websites to look up besides LinkedIn is Eventbrite and Meetup. and you can kind of tailor your search, put in some keywords, you know, maybe it's finance, maybe it's administrative, maybe it's social work, and you can see what's out there. Another great tool is what is called the informational interview, where you kind of, and we do have a great article about that on our Arrive Prepared website that also gives you a very detailed list of resources to help you get started. You want to reach out to people working in the field you want to get started in, and ask for a short conversation where you can kind of ask these questions. As well, look for professional associations. Like I said, accounting has CPA. You know, if it's a regulatory all regulated jobs will have a regulatory organization, and many other ones will have voluntary ones, and they have a lot of different kinds of information. They'll also have events. They'll have people you can reach out to who's going to have a little bit more tailored knowledge to that kind of career. And then, of course, talk to SOPA. We have employment counselors who will kind of do some of that research for you. If you are already in Canada, which some of you guys may be, I'm not sure, there are many other employment organizations where you can find, or social service organizations, we can also find an employment counselor who you can talk to, who's going to have some knowledge about the city that you're in, and may have knowledge about certain programs that you can benefit from. So those are the ways I would say are the best. I'm just going to open up the chat. I see there's a couple. So like I said, okay.
I also have a question.
Yes.
Okay, so there's a question from Dominic. And he said that you spoke about volunteering as a way to build experience for a desired career. Does SOPA help with getting into volunteering?
So we can help in that we can give you resources, we can give you places to find volunteering opportunities, and we can even do some research to help you find volunteering opportunities as well. We can help you find different organizations that are out there and what to do once you arrive. We are mostly a pre-arrival organization. We're here to help you plan. We're here to give you the information. Our job search strategies courses, for example, walk you through each part of the job search process. Our soft skills courses will help you with communication in the workplace and the workplace culture. And then our employment counselors are a little bit more one-on-one work. So we will help you get prepared for the volunteering, and we can help you apply to volunteering opportunities, but we can't just find you and said, here you are, here's a volunteer opportunity for you, you can start tomorrow. We're not really going to be doing that, but we can help you with your applications and help you find places to apply for.
Okay. I have another question from, and forgive me if I'm mispronouncing the name, Ikichukwu. So he just joined and he wants to know how you can handle the issue of Canadian experience. He has applied for up to 200 jobs and hadn't gotten invited to an interview yet.
Yes, the Canadian experience is always a tricky one, and that's really why I recommend volunteering. You also can look at a little bit more of an entry-level position in Canada. Maybe it's something related to your field, maybe it's more like a customer service position, but sometimes just showing that you have worked in Canada, even if it's not directly related to your career, will show employers that you work in Canada, you understand the Canadian culture, and that you're prepared to do what you can. So you want to look at maybe looking at more entry-level jobs, and you want to look at volunteering and networking. Networking can really help you so much. The more you network, the more people that you meet, and the more people will know you. And so that way you can have people who might recommend jobs to you, or people that you can have to vouch for you. So again, networking, we will talk about a little bit more about that in other presentations, as well as, again, please check out our Arrive Prepared website. Even if you don't meet the eligibility requirements, we have some really great articles for you there. But like I said, join LinkedIn, find online networking events. Maybe there's online conferences or virtual job fairs. Reach out to people and see if there's any information that they can kind of help you with. Maybe you want to do a bridging program. So some schools and organizations have bridging programs to kind of plug in any gaps you might have from going to one country to another in the same field. So that might be helpful. Yeah, I think there was a couple in the chat here. I'm just going to be looking at. Okay, I think Elmira did that. Okay, so I think I'm just going to stop sharing the screen now. That way I can look at the chat a little bit more easily. Okay, here's a great question. Considering alternative careers, does it mean one's resume will only be in the light of experience for the alternative career, or will it affect one's major career? So for your resume, just because you're in a different career, you don't need to completely get rid of all your other job experience and skills. You still want that. You just want to frame it in a way that transfers to that new career. So maybe if you're going from engineering to project management, maybe you won't focus as much on the technical terms, and maybe you'll focus more on what kind of experience do you have in monitoring budgets or doing this kind of work, and how will it translate to that project management. As well, if you ever do kind of change a lot in your field, you can have always put on your resume, separate the experience in relevant experience and in other experience. And that way you can highlight the most relevant experience at the top. Now that's really only if your experience isn't relevant at all to other fields that you want to get into. But no, it will always be helpful. Make sure you have experience and skills on your resume. You don't need to get rid of them. Although I will say that most employers will focus on the most recent 10 to 15 years of your work history. So if you have anything that's older than 15 years, that you don't really necessarily have to put on it if you don't want to. So how to start networking when being a newcomer with no context? Yes, again, great question. You really just need to start getting out there. Join LinkedIn groups, start messaging people in those groups. There's same with Meetup, which is a great website. There's a lot of groups out there for any kind of combination that you might think of. So maybe there's something for, engineers in Ottawa, accountants in Toronto, or maybe it's more tailored, so it's for certain finance, bookkeepers, whatever. You don't know. So start doing your research. Look at those websites and Meetup and Eventbrite. See if you can find online conferences, virtual job fairs. You're gonna want to prepare something like a 30-second pitch just about yourself and your skills and experience. It doesn't need to be too long. It could be a little bit longer, but just kind of like an introduction of, hello, I'm name, I have worked for 10 years in this field, I have X and X skills, and I'm going to be moving to Toronto, and I'm looking for work here. And that kind of starts that conversation going. So I will be looking into if we can email those links to those websites. Otherwise, the presentation is being recorded, and it will be posted later on. So keep an eye out on our social media, and you'll be able to go through the presentation at your own pace afterwards. Yes, we have a great comment from someone here. SOPA, we have a private LinkedIn group called SOPA Newcomer Network. So if any of you are a SOPA client, or if any of you are hoping to be a SOPA client, once you get through that first process, you can definitely request to join that group, and that's a really great start. Okay, we have something about, can you give us some bridging organizations? So I don't have any at the top. It's not an organization, it's a bridging program. And those are going to be done either through social service organizations, or they're going to be done through colleges and universities. So you're going to want to look at the city that you're arriving in, and then you can just kind of search up bridging programs, and there'll be a few that pop up. Not all fields will have them, but some might, and it may be helpful for you. So you're going to want to look into that. And again, if you are with SOPA, you can give us a little bit more of that specific information, and we can do that research for you. And if you already are in Canada, look for those employment counselors that are in the city that you're in, and they can do some of that research and find that kind of information and help you with that as well. Here's a really good question as well. When applying for alternative careers or volunteering, should I hide my work experience in order to not be seen as an overqualified professional? So that's going to depend. If you're volunteering, you don't necessarily need to hide all your qualifications, because people of all backgrounds and all levels volunteer. And if they're looking for someone who has some experience in accounting or administration, and you have a lot of experience, they will be interested for you. With alternative careers, I would say you don't really need to hide it unless maybe it's more of an entry-level position. Then you don't need to hide it. You just need to kind of summarize it a little bit and put a little bit more focus on other skills and other jobs. So again, you can kind of split the experience in relevant and other, or you can kind of keep some of those job search sections short, or you can leave off certain jobs altogether if you would like. Remember, resume is a marketing document, and it does not need to have everything on it. It just needs to have what's relevant to that job.
I have another question here, a follow-up from Dominic. So he's interested on to know more about the LinkedIn page you mentioned. So he's asking how does one join, and if there is a screening process.
So the LinkedIn group that we talked about for SOPA, it is for SOPA clients only. So if you are someone, if you're a client of SOPA, or you are hoping to be in the future, once you've been accepted, then you can either look for added on LinkedIn directly, or you can ask one of your facilitators or counselors, and we can get you into that. Unfortunately, it is mostly for SOPA clients. However, if that isn't going to work out for you, there are a lot of other public LinkedIn groups that you can check out. There's so many, guys. Just start exploring onto the website, and a lot of those are going to be public. And once you're in those groups, then you can start kind of posting things. You can either find like interesting articles, or you can post questions, or you can see what other people are talking about, and they can be very useful. Oh, Almira posted a great bridging program link in the chat. So it is mostly for Ontario, but that's a really great place to kind of give you an idea of what bridging programs look like, and can give you an idea of what to search for other provinces. Because mostly the provincial governments should really do have some information on it. So if you do look up, if you're, for example, going to BC, look up British Columbia bridging programs, and they should have a page for that as well. But you can get a little bit more idea of what that looks like from the link that Almira posted. Another great question from Lydia. While considering alternative careers, is it necessary to reflect one's major qualifications in the resume? So if you think those qualifications will be helpful, again, this is where you want to use those transferable skills, and you want to show that it's still relevant. So the alternative careers, maybe your history maybe you're going to administration work and you've been an accountant for 10 years. A lot of those things that you've done as an accountant and that experience can be very helpful for moving into administration, because some administrations do finance duties, or maybe you want to get into a finance organization. So you just kind of want to frame it in a way that makes sense for the job you're applying for. Maybe there are a couple things you don't really want on the resume because maybe it does look like very much overqualified. Feel free to leave off those couple of things, but you don't need to remove everything. I have another question. Is bilingualism a real asset when looking for job opportunities? So that's going to depend. I will say I'm here in Ottawa. In Ottawa, bilingualism is very valuable here since we are the capital and technically we are a bilingual city. But a lot of other places aren't going to be bilingual, and by that I mean English and French. Some positions maybe customer-facing positions are sometimes a little bit more valuable there, but it's an asset, but it's not necessary, especially for many locations and for many jobs. So if you ever see a job posting that says bilingualism would be an asset, or hoping to have it, you can still apply for those positions. Just make it clear what languages you do speak, and it's fine to do so. Anything else? If I missed a question, please just type it either to me or to Almira. Okay, we have an excellent question. How is overqualified considered in Canada? For example, I have a PhD in the humanities and I'm looking for administrative and client service jobs where such levels not necessary. Is PhD regarded as an asset or overqualifications? So a really great way to determine that is to look at the job posting and see what they're looking for. For example, if in the job they're just saying a bachelor degree and a couple years of experience, or maybe they'll even just say some kind of college or university and 5 years of experience, then yes, I'd say a PhD would be overqualified. If it's a position where they're asking for a master's degree, then a PhD might be a little bit more of an asset. So look at what they're asking for. If the max education is bachelor's degree, I would leave the PhD off. Does that make sense? Are online certifications for non-regulated jobs accepted, or do they have to be obtained inland in Canada? So online is fine. It's going to be, where are you getting these certifications? Is it from a public university or college, or from a respected organization? That's going to be what's most important. So research the organization that is offering that certification to make sure it is a good one. So most of these certifications are either going to be from a public, respected public college or university, or it's going to be maybe from either a regulatory or voluntary association, or perhaps a nonprofit social service organization. So look at that organization, look them up, see who they are. And if they do have a good reputation, then it might be an asset. If they don't have a good reputation, or if they're not considered active in that field, then maybe it won't be as worth it. Okay, another question. Can we have a brief of your presentation or important links? So this presentation has been recorded. It will be posted very shortly. Well, as soon as we can do so. And that way you guys can go back to it, watch it several times, pause, go at your own pace. We will be looking to see if we can do the links, send that out to people. Otherwise, you will be able to see them in the presentation once the recording has been put up. Oh, and Elmira just posted our SOPA webinar schedules. So there's going to be some great ones. We've got resume writing, a guide to interviews, importance of soft skills. And if you guys, tickets are available on Eventbrite. And if anyone has interest, like if these things are going well and you want more webinars, you know, maybe later on during the series, please let us know. If there's any topics that are going to be really valuable to you, please let us know in later on. Oh, okay, so I did hear from someone, one of my team members. So we can send we'll be able to send the presentation by email to everyone who has registered. So we will be sending that out. So you'll have all the information there, and then you will also have the recording with a little bit more information later on. So that'll be a lot easier for you guys. And then you can check out our Eventbrite. Again, Elmira just posted all of the webinars. And then you can always let us know, give us feedback if you are enjoying these, and if there's any other topics that you think would be valuable. We can always kind of mention that later on. Here's a great question: how to hide your qualifications in your resume while it is listed on your LinkedIn profile. That's going to depend on what you're applying for, because not all jobs will kind of look at your LinkedIn profile, especially if it's more of an entry-level position. So if you're kind of just trying to get into an entry-level profession to help you get started more in your more developed portion of your career, that's not going to be too much of a worry. If you're changing careers completely, you can always kind of edit that to either put a little bit less focus on it, you know, don't put as much detail, or you can always take those off if you want, though I would say not to do that. To do that once you have a little bit more experience in your new career. Otherwise, you can kind of just lessen some of the detail. You don't need to have all of your job duties and stuff in there. And if my English level is between intermediate to advanced, should I apply as a fluent speaker on job applicants? You can always put your level of English, unless the job is asking, for example, maybe if it's asking for like interpretation, or it's doing some very high level of work, you can always say, yeah, if you're intermediate to advanced, there's many jobs that you can apply for. And if you're ever unsure, you can just say intermediate to advanced English right on your resume. But any other resume details, next week, we're going to have a resume writing webinar. So you'll have all kinds of information there. He's one of our employment counselors. He's great. And you'll be able to ask him a little bit more of those kinds of questions. Okay, so we're almost out of time. So I'm going to give it another couple of minutes. If you have any questions, remember, we'll be having webinars on resume writing, interviews, and soft skills later on in the month. So if there's any other questions about labor market, please let me know. So we do just have a question. My LinkedIn profile has all my professional information, but I'm doing specific resumes focusing on some professions, how it can be seen. So if you mean will the LinkedIn profile be seen, some employers will look at it, some won't. As long as you're targeting your resume, it should be okay. But again, the resume questions will be answered next week by one of our employment counselors. But yes, it is okay to have a more general LinkedIn profile and then more targeted resumes. That is okay to do. Okay, we're going to give it one more minute, guys. These are great questions, though. I'm glad you're asking them. Okay. So while we're waiting to see if there's any last questions, so we got the permission we need. We're going to be sending out these PowerPoints to everyone who has registered. And once again, the recording will be available. And then please go through, register for other webinars, see what they're all about. And if there are any topics you want to see at a later time, please let us know. Maybe we'll do a webinar on networking, because it's certainly, from some of the questions, I think that would be a great topic. So maybe we'll do something about that. Okay, so we have one last question here. My LinkedIn profile has all my professional information, but I'm doing specific resumes. Okay. Regarding job market, how's construction field for architects, non-licensed architects, I mean. So I'm not going to know that kind of specific information. Believe me, if I knew all of the labor market for every career, that's a lot of information. It would be really great if I could do that, but unfortunately I don't. What I can say is that's going to vary depending on the city you're going to. Some cities are going to be doing better than others. So that's where that kind of labor market information can at least give you a bit more of an idea of what the city will look like. For example, we talked about the National Occupation Classification number. You can always go to jobbank.ca and look it up, and it will, there's a labor market. It's a job search website, but also you can look at the labor market and will give you an idea of what the specific city will look like. And then you can kind of see it, and I don't know what it would be versus architects versus non-licensed architects. That's kind of where networking will also come in handy. Oh, and yes, a great comment. There are often bridging programs for architects. So you're going to want to look into that. Bridging programs are great because they'll give you more information, but they'll also give you more contacts with people who are in that field or who know that field a lot better because their whole job is that kind of field. So they're going to have a lot more information, specific information than I will, for example. So look at the different provinces, see where they are. As of right now, might be a good opportunity because a lot of it may end up being online. So it's going to be a little bit more chances than you would otherwise. There's the JVS mentorship program. So yes, there are often mentorship programs in the different cities you'll be arriving in, mostly run by nonprofit social service organizations. One of my coworkers mentioned one specifically, JVS, and they had JVS mentorship and JVS for pre-arrivals. So that's a lot of information. If you do have any, we'll be having more webinars. And again, please let us know if there's any other topics you might be seeing. Again, networking was actually mentioned quite a bit here. So maybe we'll look into doing a networking webinar. Let us know if that's something you'd be interested in. So we'll be sending out an email with all of the information, and we'll go from there. Okay, guys? I'm looking forward to having you for the next webinars.
I have one last question from Dominic. So he's asking, does age matter when looking for a job?
Age shouldn't matter, and in fact, in Canada, it is illegal to discriminate against someone for their age. Some employers may try and get away with that. It's always hard to tell, but it's not supposed to matter. And that's kind of where you focus on the most recent 10 to 15 years of your experience. You present nicely, like you should definitely be fine. It is illegal to discriminate against someone for their age here in Canada. And one of my coworkers, so for the email to let us know if there's any questions, I think we may, instead of just saying it right now, we'll send it in with the presentation, an email you can kind of email feedback to, and if you'd like to see other webinars or if there's any questions. So either myself or one of my coworkers, the emails will be there, and we can see what you guys are looking for, okay? Any other questions, Amira? Oh, perfect. Andrea just put it in there right now. Can everyone see? Andrea just put in Andrea at ottawaworldskills.org or Almira at ottawaworldskills.org. Can everyone see those emails? Oh, it's in my private
I
room.
don't, yes.
Okay,
I was
let me
about to
see.
mention the same.
Let me see if I can do it to everyone. Everyone in meeting. Here we go. I'll also add my email as well. So if there's a couple questions you have regarding labor market, maybe we can help you out. Otherwise, let us know kind of your feedback. If there are other topics that you want, for example, if networking is a topic that you guys want, let us know and we can try and make something up for that. Okay, so everyone should be able to see that one. And here is my email, Kristy-Lu at ottawa.ca. It's at cci-ottawa.ca. So yeah, let us know your feedback and any questions. And then once again, we will be having other webinars. Next week's is going to be Humberto with his resume writing webinar. One of our employment counselors, he's great. He's going to do really well there. Interviews, soft skills, and so on. Oh, thank you, Dominic. That's a really nice comment. So we'll just give it a minute to copy down those email addresses if you'd like to keep that. And we will be sending more information out later. And please keep an eye out on our social media. And we'll go from there, okay? Thank you guys for joining. We're excited to have you. And we're excited to have more of you guys come back again. Just another minute.